So I'm getting ready to do a section of the Florida Trail, and I thought I'd do a series of videos on what's on my back and what's in my pack, and it changes all the time. This year I've jettisoned some things and added others, and I'm not ultra light. My average base weight is probably around 16, but I'm more concerned about my loadout weight, which is always under 30, and I'm thinking on this trip it'll be even less because I don't plan on carrying so much food. Oftentimes I carry 7 to 10 days worth of food. I don't do a lot of town stops unless it's right on the trail, but it looks like on the Florida Trail you can eat out every other night. So I am going to send myself resupply boxes of things that I just want to have that I know I'm not going to find along the trail. So it's not that I'm not going to resupply, but I will be buying things as I go, or at least eating out a lot, it looks like. So let's start at the top. Right on the top of my pack, I've got a sit pad. And do you need a sit pad? No. A lot of people ask me if this is my sleeping pad because they see it parked up there, but I use this constantly. I mean, every time I stop, I put this out. If it's wet, you want something dry to sit on. You know, I've talked about sitting on a pitch pine stump and getting pitch all over my pants, sitting in the dirt, sitting in the desert, sitting in the mountains, sitting on rocks. This thing, it's got a lot of wear to it, but the reason it's such a bright orange thing is not in case I need the helicopter to find me, but because I got up and walked away from the one I had that was green. So I wanted something that, you know, it's so easy to get up and walk away from your gear. I've done videos on that. So I wanted something that really stood out on the ground when I got up to pack up. So next up will be my umbrella. Do you need an umbrella? No. I use this thing all the time. I wouldn't hike without it. If you watch videos of people doing the Florida Trail, most of them have one of these because the sun's beating them to death. Same thing with going across the Mojave, doing the PCT. People carry it for sun, and I wear this thing all the time. It's like a giant hat. I don't have to wear my hat when I'm using this umbrella, and so my head is much cooler. I've got a giant hat on. I've done videos where I hook it right to these hydration clips. So I have 2 hydration clips on my pack strap, and it hooks there so it's hands-free. I can still use my poles. If it's just starting to sprinkle in a rain event, you know, this is the first thing I'll put on. It's just part of my rain gear, and oftentimes while the weather's trying to decide if it's going to spit or rain or sleet or whatever, it can't make up its mind right away. I put this on first, and then if it gets bad, then I can put on my patrol poncho and my chaps if I have to. But this is my first defense against rain, and it's 6-7 ounces. Doesn't weigh much at all. It gives you plenty of protection from extreme sun. You're not going to use it in a windstorm. You're going to have to bring it down because it'll, turn inside out. I've turned this thing inside out a few times. Didn't damage it. I could bring it right back, but again, you have to decide when to deploy it and when to drop sails. I carry this right next to my Hillyberg tent, and I carry that on the outside of my pack because I want to be able to put this away last. So everything in this pack is in my tent when the tent's set up in the morning, and when I'm getting out, no matter what the weather is, I can have everything in this pack ready to rock and roll, and all I have to do is deal with this tent. And this tent weighs, this right here, this packet weighs about 47 ounces. It's not the lightest tent on the market. You can get one that's 14 ounces. But this baby is bulletproof, bomb-proof, whatever you want to call it. I've been in every kind of weather. I've been using Hillyberg tents for 25 years. First the Octo, This is my second Enon, and it'll take any kind of a blow that's out there. I've been in all of them, and the reason this thing weighs 47 ounces, I should explain. I really carry the tent. Everything weighs about 37 ounces the way I carry it, but I decided to go with the Hilleberg ground cloth. I'd never bought that before. I always used Tyvek 1443R, very light. But on the Arizona Trail this spring, if you watch my videos, a pack rat just chewed my tent, chewed my ground cloth to pieces. And when I finally was able to buy a new Hilleberg Enon tent, I decided to get their footprint, which, you know, it just solved a few fiddling issues for me. So when I stop, no matter what the weather, but especially in a wind, I get the Tyvek out that I used to use for my ground cloth, and I'd have to put rocks on it and hold it down and get it in place, then put the tent up. Whereas this, the outer tent, the inner tent, and the ground cloth are all clipped together. I never take them apart. I get out, throw it out there, stake it up, put it up in 2 minutes, and it's all there. And this ground cloth completely covers the inner tent and the entire vestibule. So it just, number one, took care of a lot of fiddling. It didn't weigh that much more. I mean, if you took the 1443R and put it on a scale and then, you know, took this ground cloth that Hilleberg sells off this tent, we're probably talking 3 or 4 ounces for a whole lot less fiddling. So that's why I went to their ground cloth. But this Hilleberg Enon is a great tent. Next would be a Cockwa 40, Durston Cockwa 40. And so for years, I carried a ULA Circuit, which I still have, still think is a great backpack. When Durston came out with these, I'd really studied Ultra 200, and nobody was making a pack out of the stuff, but you know, it was coming. And so when I saw Durston was using it, that's really why I bought this pack. I wanted to try that Ultra 200, and as it's turned out, it's really good, tough stuff. Everything it's advertised to be, and you know, it's kind of a almost feels waterproofy material, even though, you know, packs aren't waterproof. The sole lines will sweep. So I still, on a really wet section of trail, I'll put everything in a compactor bag. I always carry it in the bottom of my pack, but it is weather resistant, I can tell you that. And I've been through some nasty weather with this thing, and I've used it in the desert, I've used it in the mountains, and I bought it basically because I lost 11 ounces also from my ULA Circuit. This thing's 11 ounces lighter, and I'm always trying to get it lighter. I didn't have to give up any space. This thing carries everything that I need to carry when I carry long food hauls. It's got a expandable neck on it here that I can roll up and down. I like the outer mesh pockets. I like the deeper pocket here for this is where I keep my tent. Now, everybody uses these pockets for something different, but my tent and my umbrella go in here, and it also has a pocket here, which, you know, I could live without, but since it's there, it's an outer pocket to this outer pocket. And I just carry my valuables in there. So when I go into a restaurant or a bar or something, I don't have to dig through my pack to get my ID and my money. It's right there, easy, accessible. So for my water bottles, here's something I've changed this year. So a lot of people just carry a smart water bottle. I carry these bottles that have the wider opening on the mouth. Now, if you're carrying a Sawyer filter, it's not going to work because these threads and the opening is much bigger, but I'm always putting protein mixes, breakfast mixes in my bottles, and that bigger opening makes it so much easier to get those powders into the opening. So that's why I carry that. And this I just bought Haven't even tried it yet, but I'm taking it on the Florida Trail because it's a Grail titanium water filter, and it's supposed to take out everything, heavy metals, pesticides, herbicides, you name it. And so that's going to be my second water bottle, and that'll give me only 1.5 liters instead of 2 liters, but I can live with that. You know, I never filter much prior to this, so when I'd get to water, I'd carry a lot of extra water. I'd carry 2 liters, probably didn't need it. Now I'll be carrying 1.5 liters because just about any water source I come to, this is supposed to filter everything out. So that's, and it has a cup if you wanted to heat water on it, and which I may do. I'm not sure. I may carry my little stove and heat water on this thing, on this strip. Again, doesn't sound like food's going to be much of a problem on the Florida Trail. In the next video, I'll talk about what I carry in this front mesh pocket, which is quite a bit of stuff. It holds a lot, and I put things in here that I want during the day, so I'll talk about that in the next video. Keep smiling. So this video link will take you to a playlist of videos I've done on most of these pieces of gear if you want more information. If you have any questions, let me know.